Hello everyone, and welcome to SUNUP. I'm LYNDALL STOUT. We begin today with canola research and a chemical phenomenon in the field that scientists at Oklahoma State are learning more about. Here's our Extension Cropping System Specialist, Josh Lofton.
Yeah, so this is one of our mini plots to kind of look at this. What we're doing here is essentially looking to see how we can grow canola better, and that's kind of a broad general look at things. But what we're actually doing is looking at allelopathy and how it actually affects the canola plant and the canola growth and continued production. Now that allelopathy is actually a term referred to a chemical that essentially all plants produce to varying levels and affect different plants differently, and so it's a little bit hard to kind of understand and comprehend, but when you actually get it out in the field, it kind of makes a whole lot of sense.
Tell us what you have set up here, kind of how it's structured with wheat and canola.
Yeah, so what we're looking at is back historically we always had a challenge with wheat or with canola going into our no-till wheat, and we thought maybe it was mechanical, that the drills or the planters just weren't able to get in. And what we actually found is we actually had some degree of chemical inhibition of potentially that wheat straw affecting that canola plant, and that was that allelopathy of the wheat onto the canola. And you can kind of see that effect here. What we have is, in this area that I'm standing in, is one wheat variety. Right next door, and you can see this really sharp line, we have another wheat variety, and you can see the difference in the canola growth. It's kind of hard to see because the canola has died over the winter time, but you can see how much vegetative material it had and how much just raw canola it has in the field compared to this wheat variety that practically has, looks like 5 plants in it planted. So we see it's very influential. Essentially, there's varying degrees based on what wheat variety you have. Something like this terminated the crop early. It wasn't allowed to germinate, or it did germinate and it just wasn't allowed to grow. And we have some of these plots in here that actually looked really good going into the first freeze, and then they died. And so we have some that just make it to where the canola plant can't stand stress. So when we have low temperatures, or maybe during the drought when we had lack of moisture, it made it to where it looked like it winter killed, but there was a separate issue going on as well.
So with this in mind, what can growers do to kind of overcome some of this chemical phenomenon?
The best thing to do is know what you're growing and know what wheat variety you're going into with canola. A lot of these varieties that are allelopathic, and they can find all of the list on some that we think at canola.okstate.edu. Some of them are very allelopathic and some are minor allelopathic, but some of our wheat varieties on that list are very good wheat varieties. Our highest producing are really good forage wheats or something like that. So it's not to say that we can't grow them, but it's look at what you're growing ahead in canola and make sure it's not allelopathic, or maybe the allelopathy is very, very light. The other thing that we're looking at is managing the wheat residue in the field. Can we till the field? Can we kind of get the residue out of the way to kind of minimize that allelopathic effect? That way we can grow whatever wheat variety we want to ahead of canola and not have an issue. And we're seeing some positive things on actually removing the wheat variety and it almost completely removing that allelopathic effect.
So do your homework on the varieties and then kind of plan the strategy in advance for that field. That's
exactly it, and it's the whole thing. Knowledge is power, and it's really, we want to know what we're going into. It's kind of like soil testing. You would just not randomly go out and put fertilizer. You shouldn't just randomly go out and put fertilizer without a soil test. It's the same thing here. Know what wheat variety you're going into. Know how impactful the canola is to that wheat variety, and maybe just manage your wheat variety rotation based on when your canola is going to come in. And like I said, it's all about knowing what the wheat varieties are doing to our canola and managing around it.
And you as scientists are learning more all the time, right?
We don't go through a growing season without learning something new. Of course, it's Oklahoma, so everything changes. This year, we actually have some really good stuff. We had this last year and we got no winter kill, but we saw a yield response. This year, we had those negative 15-degree temperatures and it was kind of dry, so we're actually seeing some actual population response to some of these. So it's a little bit different every year, but it's good because for the growers, it's a little bit different every year as well.
Sure is. And speaking of learning, you and the team gearing up for the annual No-Till Conference. Tell us about that.
The No-Till Conference is coming up the 7th and 8th of March. It's a really good program lined up, as it always is. A wide range of disciplines and a wide range of topics that growers can come in, listen to. Early registration is $125. Once you get past that early bird registration, it's $150. So if they go to notill.okstate.edu, contact Janelle Malone. She'll get you lined up, and we have registration there at the website as well. That way they can get registered, get early, get that discounted rate, save a little bit of money, and come down. It's a little bit different. Historically, it's been in Norman. It's going to be in Shawnee this year at the casino down there. So a little bit different venue, but still a really good conference that we have lined up.
Terrific. Thanks a lot, Josh.
Thank you.
And for a link to registration for the No-Till Conference, just go to sunup.okstate.edu.